The early success of other GM division big block cars like the GTO pushed Chevrolet to pump up the power in its 1965 Chevelle in a big way. Bob Marvin, the owner of this 1965 Z16 Chevelle, tells us,
"It seems a little unusual, but they chose a Malibu body and put a big block 396, 375 horse and backed it up with a 4-speed.
This regal red 1965 Z16 is very special.
They made 201 of these Z16s, and of the 201, the one that I'm next to here is the prototype, or the first one.
The car began life on the GM assembly line and was ordered by the Z16 project manager D.H. McPherson. After delivery to GM Engineering, project personnel began converting the car to Z16 specifications, fabricating and fitting special components as testing progressed, with successful parts then going into regular production. Once it was completed and final testing finished, the car was driven for several months by McPherson. It's also thought that it spent time at both the Milford and Arizona GM proving grounds and was a member of the contingent of Z16 Chevelles at the model's official introduction in the spring of 1965.
The Z16 uniqueness in having that 396, 375 horse with the 4-speed was enough to make it probably one of the quickest cars on the street, if not the quickest car on the street.
The Z16 Chevelle was not a stripped-down drag racer. The Z16 was automatically packaged up with an unmatched level of supersport luxury. This included driving enhancements like fast ratio power steering and power brakes, heavy-duty suspension pieces, including boxed frame components normally reserved only for convertible models, and a larger radiator. Bob tells us that other options continued inside the car.
Some of the options on the Z16 were the power windows, AM/FM radio, and it has a tilt steering wheel. They all get driven. We try to get them out 4 or 5 times during the summer months. Plus, we go to probably 30 car shows during the year. And if the shows are within 150 miles, we'll drive the car to the show and back. And that's unusual for a collection of cars like this, because there's so many one-of-a-kind cars and so many rare cars. We do take them out and we do drive them, and many of them get driven the way they're meant to be driven. So we have some fun with them.
It's most unusual for a 1960s big block muscle car to have remained for over 20 years in a state of almost complete originality. Yet that was the condition when Z16 expert Doug Garrett began its restoration in 1989. The finished product that you see here reflects Garrett's famous attention to the finest details, and the car remains in that same absolutely correct as original condition to this day. Close inspection of this Z16 reveals fascinating parts and pieces bearing unique details, including special vendor tags and markings.
The Z16s have become highly touted as a legitimate collector's piece because of the history of the car and its performance for back in 1965.